Hi, little bird. I'm going to record this anyway, and hopefully it comes out okay. Um, so let's. I haven't been on for a while. I've just been busy in all reality, and it's just life. And before that it was work, and then now, like I said, in previous videos that I was leading up to gender confirmation surgery, and we have had gender confirmation surgery, and it feels great. It's wonderful. I'm still recovering. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you. It is a slow recovery. I don't know about the other trans women I've seen on YouTube that are like, oh, after 2 weeks I was fine. No, that is not the case. That is not the case here. Okay? Um, you know, age and how you recover and other things contribute to how you heal, but in gender confirmation surgery, it is a slow recovery. Okay? I'm not going to sugarcoat it or anything. So, um, yeah, it's a slow recovery. It's a process, and you got to keep that in mind. Now, granted, I did do two surgeries at once. I did a breast augmentation and the bottom surgery. And the reason I did that is I wanted to recover once. I didn't want to have to go out again for another surgery, and figured, why not? If I'm going to be weak and recover, I might as well do it all at once. And in retrospect, it may have not been right, but at the same time, yeah, I don't have to go back in, except for maybe a revision surgery, which I hope not to do, but it's probably going to happen. And, it's just one of those things. And so I went in on August 14th. Well, my last day of work was August 10th, and I went down August 11th, which I believe was, yeah, it was the Sunday before. And I took a train and a bus, and it took forever to get down to San Francisco when it's only a 3 hour drive for me. But I didn't want to bring my car, because if I brought my car, I'd have to bring it back somehow. But you can't drive after a week out of surgery, because you are healing, you're on narcotics, it's just not a very good situation to be driving back, a week after surgery. And, yeah, it's just not good. So I wasn't going to drive myself. Or, yeah. So I went down on the 11th, because that Monday before, on the 12th, I had a pre op. Went to the pre op. They kind of looked everything over. We discussed things just to finalize everything, did some paperwork, uh, charged my portion of it because, well, insurance doesn't cover 100% of the surgery. I wish it would, but it doesn't. And then once I paid my portion, it was all downhill from there. So I was free to explore San Francisco for 2 days, which I did. I took the time and kind of went outside of my hostel. I got a hostel because it was a lot cheaper than getting a hotel in San Francisco city proper, because my surgery center was like down Post Street. And So I went with Align Surgical, which um, Dr. Satterwhite used to be with Brownstein and Crane, but he kind of started his own thing and is now with Align Surgical. So I went with them because I really trusted Dr. Satterwhite and the results I've seen and everything I've heard about him. So I felt comfortable staying with him rather than trying to go to some other doctor. And so we had the pre-op. I was exploring San Francisco. Uh, Tuesday night, I had to start my bowel prep, and let me tell you, the bowel prep is not fun. It is not fun at all. Uh, I don't think anybody says, "Oh yes, I want to prep my bowels and get them empty." It was a long night. I had lots of anxiety. I couldn't sleep. Luckily, I had an insomnia medicine it for the surgery. And I was like, you know what? I already have it, so let's go ahead and take it. So I took it. And I slept some. I think might have slept like 4 hours that night. And that morning, I had to do the rest of the bowel prep. And then I got picked up by my ride. We went to the surgery center, and it was a whirlwind when I got in there. It was just like, hey, good morning. We're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this, and this, and start getting naked. And I'm like, I'm not normally comfortable with getting naked anyway, but in front of total strangers, it's just always unnerving, even if it's your doctor team. So, I got undressed, got in the hospital gown, and of course, I hadn't eaten anything since that night, since before 10 o'clock. And, I'm hungry, I'm starving, and my blood sugar was probably low. And the nurse is trying to put in the IV for me, and, she's trying to move it around, make sure that it's in right. And immediately I'm like, whoa, 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 stop, stop, stop. And she kept moving it around, trying to position it right. I fainted. The doctors were worried. Everybody was worried. They were like, "Are you okay? I mean, you fainted." And I'm like, I faint sometimes. I don't do well with needles. I don't do well with blood sometimes. And you just caught me on an off day because I've had no food. So I was sitting there for at least, I don't know, a good hour or so. I got a nap in. I won't lie. I got a nap in while they had fans and an ice pack on my head, and I was just sitting in this chair after I had passed out and relaxing and try to regain my self back. And then, I talked with all the nurses, I talked with the staff, I talked with my doctor again. And then it was off to the OR, the operating room, and they laid me down. And I met the anesthesiologist. I couldn't tell you his name. I got his name, but we shook hands, and then he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna put a little something in your IV." And he's like, "You should feel a little cold, and then you're gonna go to sleep." And as soon as I felt the cold, I was asleep. I was out. I was out. And then, I don't even remember what time it was when I woke up, but all I remember is waking up and the nurse was like, "You're all done." I'm like, oh, I'm all done. Okay. And I went to sleep. Um, so I was in my room for a day. Was it a day? Yeah, it was a day. And then that morning, they moved me to a recovery home. It was just a local hotel, and I was there for 3 days where I had an on call nurse, and they gave me my meds. They helped me get up and down because getting up and down was such a pain. It so hurt. I was in a lot of pain. Um, they they managed my pain, which, I didn't take the full dosage of the oxy and some of the other stuff they had me on. But the first week was probably the hardest. And then after the hotel, excuse me, I went to a transgender not a care facility, but a home for recovery, and stayed there for a week where I pretty much took care of myself. It was kind of hard, but I laid down mostly because, ow, 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 ow. And then I had my first pre-op that following, gosh, oh, it was that following Friday that I had my first pre-op. And, we looked at everything, took off the gauze, the dressing, and before you leave the hospital, you have to pee. And they filled up my bladder, and I had quite a few glasses of water. I was in there waiting to pee for 4 hours with the catheter out. And and the catheter was a pain. I hated the catheter. The catheter sucked because it's attached to this bag where your urine goes in, and you have to empty it manually. And I just hated emptying it because it's like, why can't I mean, I get it that you don't want to contaminate the area unnecessarily with stuff like that. And so 4 hours in my room waiting to pee. And one of the suggestions the guy I was staying with suggested, because he was in the room and I really trusted him. He's a great guy. I just couldn't have asked for a better person to help me out. One of the things he suggested was standing up because I had gotten a little bit in this bowl that they measure it out in. And so I stood up over this cup that's in the toilet, and I just kind of relaxed because I found now I really have to relax. I can't just push it out. I have to relax the muscles down there, and then it comes out. So that's definitely a difference. Um, Once I relaxed, it came out, and I filled up the cup enough that I could actually leave and not have to get the catheter in back in because they were talking about it right before I did it. And so I really didn't want the catheter back in. Forget that. I didn't want it back in. So, but standing up, it was very, very messy. It went on the floor, it went down my legs, it went in my socks. It was so terrible. It was just a mess. Um, so, yeah, I got to go home. Going home was a pain just because Bay Area traffic sucks, sucks, sucks. Um, oh, My computer turned off the monitor. Anyway, so got home. I've been home since then. Went to my second pre-op that following Friday. Um, and I've been dilating since that first pre-op, and I can get it up past the fifth dot. I'm up to the second dilator just because the first one was a little loose. So I'm up to dilator number 2, which is the blue one. I call the blue one Papa Smurf right now, just because, I'm a child of the 80s, so Papa Smurf. Um, and so I've been dilating 3 times a day for 30 minutes at a time. So it's just real time crunch because I have to prep my spot for where I do my dilation and make sure that, I clean up afterward and clean the dilator. And it's just a very big chore throughout the day and a time suck. And so, yeah. But, some of the things I've heard is that, you know, it hurts and it's painful. For me, it's not painful so much. It's not any of that. It's just a time suck. And so, yeah, I'm doing that. And now I'm up to 4 weeks. It's finally kind of starting to heal down there more. Let me tell you, the scar lines are itchy and just painful. And anybody that says, "Oh, my scar lines didn't hurt," is lying, because they hurt right now. That's probably where my biggest pain for right now is coming from. 4 weeks post-op is from the stitch lines where they stitched me up. And as far as the boobs, the breasts, uh, they're still settling. They're really high still. Um, they just put a lot of pressure on my muscles still. The muscles are slowly relaxing. It's just, all of this has been a very slow process. And, I've never heard that in any video. And I'm going to tell you and be honest, it's a slow process. It's a slow recovery. You're not going to be out mowing the lawn the next day. I know a few trans women that said they did a bunch of stuff right after, but I'm like, how? Why would you do that? Your body's trying to heal. Give it time to heal. Don't overdo yourself, because I can definitely tell on days that I overdo it, I'm extra tired the next day. So that's pretty much where I'm at this point. 4 weeks post op feels great. Um, it's mostly wound care at this time, just trying to get everything to start healing. I've had the full battery of things you can experience. I had a yeast infection. That was not fun. The yeast infection then turned into a urinary tract infection, which was double not fun. So I went on antibiotics again. And it's just been, oh yeah, and since been being home, the kids have brought home 2 sicknesses. So I've had 2 sicknesses of throwing up, which again has not been fun. So yeah, it's been one heck of a ride for 4 weeks so far. And now I'm just trying to deal with unemployment and getting all of the paperwork situated, because it's just another chore, a battle, and just a pain. So, all right, little birds, that is my gender confirmation. That is what's been happening with me. That is what's been up. And, I wouldn't trade it. There was a few days that I had where, all of us get it. I've heard it before by other trans women, other trans men, that at some point you hit like a depression phase where you're like, what did I do to myself? What have I done to my body? And yeah, I probably hit that last week. And it was just one of those days that it was just a rough day. And what was like 3 days that I had it that I was just like, had that regret and was like, what did I do to myself? I ruined myself. And but no, I would never trade it for sure. It's been a blessing. I can't wait to actually, do things with it, if you get my drift. So, yeah, until next time, I will try to record some more and update you guys on what's going on with recovery, and hopefully I'm getting to the better end where it's not quite so much wound care and more of just living. So, all right, little birds, be your authentic selves, be yourselves, love yourself for honest sakes. Just love yourself. And I will talk to you later. Bye.